BB, in the context of the season, is that the best win you've been a part of? And then more broadly, when you think about the Geelong win and the Melbourne wins from years gone by, is that right up there?
Yeah, look, it was a really strong performance from the boys on Saturday night, and it was pleasing to play 4 quarters of our brand of footy that we've been showing glimpses of in different games, and to do it against a quality outfit in Carlton at home was really important for us, and should give our boys even more belief in what they've currently got, and it just shows that we're heading in the right direction, and that our best is more than good enough to compete with anyone.
It's been hard to stay the course without a result in recent weeks?
Not internally, it hasn't, no, but again, it's always nice to give some uplift for our supporters and some positivity and optimism around our group and some of our young guys and how they're travelling. But internally, we've been really conscious about rewarding what we're doing really well in games, as well as the week prior against Sydney, addressing the first quarter, but then recognising the back 3 quarters and what we did really well, and trying to bottle that and get it for 4 quarters, which we're able to do. And so today in our review, I'm sure we'll go through why and what makes us perform the way we did, and recognise specific roles and things that got the game on our terms, and try and replicate it again this week over in WA.
Get the party pies and sausage rolls out for the review. Be the first happy one.
No, we try and stay pretty balanced with how we review it. There'll still be things out of the game, looking at it yesterday, that we can do better and we should look to improve on. But for the most part, it was a lot of positives out of it. So we'll look to affirm a lot of that with the meeting this afternoon, and also delve into some things that we can keep getting better at.
I'm sure that belief internally has remained pretty high, but
yep.
Is it a reality that you still need to have those scalps along the journey, just as a little reminder or just a little refresher that you are on the right track?
Oh, it always helps, just to, I guess, compete for long enough against the better sides. And on the weekend was one of those examples where we're able to show that our best is good enough and we can do it for 4 quarters. Our challenge now is that consistency of performance over 4 quarters again this week. So we'll recognise we did a really good job on the weekend. So it's pretty much 7 quarters in a row now we've been at the level. Our challenge now is to go first quarter against West Coast and then reset.
How did you address the start? Because being at the game, in the opening minutes, there was a feel of like, oh boy, this is a different Adelaide. What was said, or how was it?
Wish we could bottle each week and how we get the starts to the level that we want. But we did address the Sydney first quarter strongly last week, and also, as I said, reiterated what we did really well in the back 3 quarters and how we try and replicate that into this week. And to the boys' credit, they had a real appetite for the contest right from the get-go. They embraced the conditions. Were really clear on what our game plan was going into the game, with some key roles within that game plan, and they went about it and played a real tough, hardened brand of footy, which we've become, I guess, known about with our ability to compete and contest and do it in games. So it was pleasing to start from the first quarter of that on the weekend.
Is that equal parts frustrating though, that you can have such a bad start and then flip the switch and have such a great start?
Yeah, that can be the challenge sometimes with a young group and young list. But I mean, I love coaching this group because they want to learn, they want to get better, and they just want to compete. So that's often, I'd imagine, one of the hardest challenges with a young group, is to get them to consistently want to play a high level contested brand of footy. And I think our supporters can see that this group just has an appetite for that brand of footy, which, when we become good enough down the track, when it be, we're competing in bigger games and hopefully finals footy, that this brand of footy that we're able to play, they've become more conditioned to, and we're able to do that on a bigger stage.
Is it a turning point, do you think?
Oh, look, it's a step in the right direction for us and shows some growth. And I mean, you only have to look at a guy like Josh Worrell coming into the team too, for Tom Duday on the weekend. And Josh has been, playing some really strong footy at sample level this year, and gets his opportunity and comes in and performs and plays his role really strongly. So it's a sign that we're growing, and guys at lower level are also putting their hand up and ready to perform when they come in, which is what we're all about at the moment.
I reckon that your fans and some of your members might have been calling for Josh for about 20 weeks and finally got their wish. From a club perspective, why did it take so long? What's he had to work on to be able to get back into the side?
Yeah, look, it's there's been a lot of guys at lower level that have been banging on the door for a long period of time. What we need to understand is there's a mix down back. There's a mix for the midfielders we've spoken about. There's a forward mix that we need to be aware of. So it's not as if just come in for anyone. It's when an opportunity presents that we're able to reward that form at lower levels. So on the weekend, as I said, Tom Duday went out of the side, and Josh is a similar player to Tom in certain regards. So plays that role. A number of other guys down back at the SANFL level, and first to mind comes Billy Frampton, Benny Davis, who have been playing some outstanding footy as well. Could well come in and play at any stage as well. I think it just should give guys at SANFL level confidence that if they're in good form, they're able to come in and play at the level at AFL level, which is pleasing.
Given Tom has about 17 different injuries, does Josh's performance sort of make it a bit easier for you if he needs a second or third week to just make sure he's all good?
Oh, it's always pleasing when he comes in and plays his role like he did. And as we said last week, we'll manage Tom on a week-to-week basis, and he's pretty banged up at the moment. So we'll see if the week off helped him recover to a level. And as I said, it's opportunities for these guys when they come in. So it's great to see Josh play the way he did on the weekend.
You said to Thurley, got to remain measured in your review. Is it important to know that you're never as good or as bad as it seems? Because two of your more disappointing losses this year probably come against teams who are lower than you on the ladder in the Giants and Hawthorn. Is that the same this week against West Coast?
Like every week this year, we've reviewed in a very similar mindset. We've been balanced with the way that we've gone about it. So we've always shown, whether it be a poor performance, we've shown positives and growth in our game, and we've similarly reviewed strongly areas that we need to get better at. And I think that the group has appreciated that because it allows them to stay level and get a consistent message around, we're doing some things right. We're always going to look to improve and get better, and this week will be no different. So we'll review the positives and then look at ways we can get better with an eye on what West Coast are doing at the moment, because I saw them yesterday. They're playing a strong brand of footy and they're getting some key personnel back, so it's going to make them hard to beat.
Is Duday putting his hand up to play this week?
I'm not sure yet. No, it's only Monday, so we haven't had a chat as coaches yet or as match committee or whatnot. So we'll see how he pulls up after a quieter weekend.
And Riley Thilthorpe, is he close or?
Similar. He's almost got through the captain's run. Got through most of it on Friday and decided late to not play, obviously. So we'll review him early in the week, and hopefully he gets through training and presents to play this week, because he's been in some pretty solid form for us prior to that and growing his game nicely.
Shelley.
Yeah, he's another one that got his first week on the training track last week, and I believe trained well on Friday with the SANFL group, so hopefully he's another one this week that's ready to play some footy.
All year you've been sort of searching for a midfield mix, evidenced by Matt being out of the team, and you've sort of tinkered with who goes in there. With Keys moving half forward, probably one of his more important games of the season, do you feel like the guys that went in there and that's the mix you're after now? Was that a step forward for that midfield group?
Oh, it was a different look for us on the weekend, that's for sure, and Keezy played a really important role for us ahead of the ball, and we also have been looking for ways to give a Jake Saligo, Harry Schonberg more genuine time on ball, and they got that opportunity on the weekend against a really quality Carlton midfield group. Cripps still had a big impact on the game, as did Walsh, but I thought the way that the boys handled our systems and played to their strengths within that helped nullify what Carlton were really about and helped get the game on our terms when we needed it. So it was a really pleasing performance from my point of view, with probably the youngest group that this club's ever had in the midfield, get to work, and some steps in the right direction for those guys, and our fans should be pretty excited about their game growing, and hopefully can see what our future's going to look like for them.
Did Ben do too good a job tagging? Has he sort of locked himself into that sort of role?
What we love about Keezy is discipline to stick to task, whether that be through the midfield or whether that be a particular role. Even before I got here, Keezy played a number of run-with roles and executed them really well. So he's done it before in the past, and he'll do whatever it takes for his teammates to to get a result, and the role that he played on the weekend is really important. So we'll assess that on week to week, given what opportunities opposition teams present for us. So we'll have a look at West Coast this week and assess from there. But yeah, it was pleasing to see him have an impact on the weekend.
Mate, the investigation's underway. You've obviously heard about a fan has said something towards Adam Saad during the game. What was your reaction and the club's reaction to that, and how disappointed are you that it's taken a little bit of shine off a really good performance?
Yeah, look, it was really disappointing to hear what happened on the weekend in that regard. Let's be really clear, us as a club, we don't tolerate any antisocial behaviour and won't stand for that. I'm not across all the detail in regards to the incident. I know the club and the AFL are working through that at the moment, and once they get a line of sight on that, then will be more detail to follow. But yeah, really disappointing.
Do you think a club ban or something like that might be coming if it's proven that it actually happened?
Oh, that's not my decision to make, and it's, as I said, the investigation's underway, and once that's concluded, then I'm sure you'll hear more about it.
All good. Well, just lastly, I'm not sure if it's not spoken about super widely, but I think with some section of Crows fans, Riley O'Brien's become a bit of a whipping boy last 2 or 3 weeks. I think he's taken a mark for 3 weeks or in counting. How internally as a club have you viewed his last few weeks coming up against his old arch nemesis?
With his phone with Nick the other year, yeah. Remind me about that constantly. I was in the other side of it with Nick at that stage, and quite entertaining. But Riley's he's a really important member of our midfield mix. And I go back to the Sydney game. You know, the effort that he put in from quarter time onwards to get the game on our terms doesn't always involve aerial impact. Get the ball going our way was really important. And on the weekend, he had no respite with De Conning and with Pitnet in the ruck. So performed strongly, and his number one aspect of his game is his ruck craft and his ability to get the game on our terms for us in that regard. And we know how important he is around the ground aerially. And the number one thing we ask is that he doesn't get outmarked. And I think rarely you'll see that Riley gets outmarked, and his ability to compete in the air is one of his strengths. So yeah, he's been a solid contributor for us.
Is Crouch available for selection after that quad injury?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know he got through training last week, and obviously there was no SNFL game on the weekend, but yeah, we'll assess that heading into this week. But I'd say more than likely, based on how he went last week at training.
Did the sample buy come at a bad time for him?
Oh, look, it's hard to tell with everyone, but yeah, everyone wants to play this time of year, put their hand up for selection. So, and in saying that too, some guys need a bit of a spell to freshen up for the remaining games to come, and there's finals footy ahead for our SNFL group. So, bit of both worlds really.
How's he going?
Who's it, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the rest of our group. He's keen to play footy. He's keen to perform, and I'm sure he's proud of what the group put out there on the weekend, and hopeful that he can keep putting his hand up for selection with the other guys at SNFL level. Knowing what we saw from Josh on the weekend, you play well at SNFL, and you come back in, you can play your role and do what we need.
He's not quite like the rest of the group though, is he? He's a club champion All-Australian, so he's not quite like the rest of the group. How's he holding up? There's been a lot of talk about him, and that would take a toll on most people. He's another teammate.
He's another member of our group, and we treat Matt the same as the rest of our teammates and other players in that regard. That yeah, he's required to do his job as are the rest of them.